Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. If you're new here, I'd love to tell you that we upload English learning videos regularly to help you reach your fluency goals faster. In today's masterclass, you will not only improve your listening skills, but also expand your vocabulary, refine your sentence structures, and practice the kind of advanced English that takes you closer to the C1 level. Today's lesson is all about building the kind of vocabulary that makes you sound natural, confident, and fluent in daily life. We'll explore expressions, phrases, and sentence patterns that advanced speakers use without even thinking about them. Whether you're having casual conversations, writing formal messages, or explaining complex ideas, advanced vocabulary is the key that unlocks fluency and confidence. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand how to use advanced vocabulary in different contexts, but you'll also practice it with me step by step, so it stays in your mind and becomes part of your own speech. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon so you never miss a chance to improve your English with me. So, relax, get comfortable, and if you'd like, grab a pen and paper to note down the words and phrases we practice together. Let's begin our journey to C1 fluency. Now, when we talk about reaching the C1 level, it's not just about memorizing difficult words from a dictionary. It's about knowing how to use words naturally, in context, and with confidence. For example, think about the difference between saying, "I am very tired," and saying, "I am completely exhausted." Both mean the same, but the second one feels stronger, more advanced, and more natural at higher levels of English. As you listen, I want you to shadow me, which means you repeat after me slowly and clearly. This method will help you internalize the rhythm, pronunciation, and usage of advanced phrases. So let's try it together. I am very tired. Now repeat after me. I am completely exhausted. Good. You see the difference? At C1 level, small changes like this make your English sound richer and more precise. Another example, instead of saying, "The movie was very good," you could say, "The movie was absolutely brilliant." Instead of saying, "She is very smart," you could say, "She is remarkably intelligent." Notice how these stronger adjectives lift your English to a higher standard. It's not about showing off. It's about expressing yourself with more variety and precision. Now let's practice with a short exercise. Imagine you are talking about a trip you recently took. A basic sentence would be, "The place was very beautiful." But at C1, you might say, "The place was breathtakingly beautiful." Repeat after me slowly. The place was breathtakingly beautiful. Excellent. Can you feel how the sentence now paints a stronger image in the listener's mind? At this level, fluency also means being able to explain your thoughts in multiple ways. For example, instead of only saying, "I don't know," you could say, "I'm not entirely sure," or "I can't say with certainty." These alternatives not only make you sound advanced, but also polite and professional in different situations. Let's do another practice round together. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I can't say with certainty. Now think of a daily situation. Maybe someone at work or school asks you a difficult question. Instead of staying silent, These phrases will give you the confidence to respond naturally. We also need to talk about connectors, because at C1, connecting your ideas smoothly is what shows true fluency. Words like moreover, nevertheless, consequently, and, on the other hand, allow your sentences to flow like a native speaker's. For example, I was tired, nevertheless, I finished the project on time. Or, she studied hard, consequently, she passed with excellent marks. Now repeat after me slowly. I was tired. Nevertheless, I finished the project on time. She studied hard. Consequently, she passed with excellent marks. These are the kinds of sentences that will help you in both speaking and writing when you aim for advanced fluency. As we continue, I want you to imagine real-life conversations where these words could appear. Think about being in a job interview, a university discussion, or even chatting with friends. Using advanced vocabulary naturally in these moments is what will build your confidence and move you from intermediate to advanced. For practice, try speaking about your weekend using one advanced connector. For example, I wanted to stay at home. On the other hand, my friends convinced me to go out. Repeat this sentence after me. Good. Now create your own version in your mind and say it out loud. This is how you practice advanced English daily by taking simple situations and raising the language level with richer vocabulary and smoother connectors. Remember, learning advanced English is not about rushing. It's about practicing slowly, repeating often, and allowing new words and structures to become part of your natural speech. That's why in this masterclass, we'll go step by step, building vocabulary, practicing pronunciation, and using examples from daily life that you can immediately apply in your conversations. One of the things that really separates C1 level speakers from lower levels is their ability to choose the right word for the right situation. It's not just about vocabulary size, it's about precision. For instance, instead of saying he said something, an advanced learner might say, he remarked, he commented, or he pointed out. Each of these choices changes the nuance slightly, and this is exactly what gives your English that polished, advanced feel. Let's practice this together. Repeat after me slowly. He remarked that the meeting was too long. Now another one. He commented on the design of the presentation. And one more. He pointed out a mistake in the report. You see how each version feels slightly different? This is vocabulary in action. The art of selecting the right word to express the exact meaning you want. Another important area at C1 is mastering idiomatic expressions. Native speakers use idioms so naturally that conversations sound more colorful and alive. For example, instead of saying, I'm very nervous, you could say, I have butterflies in my stomach. Instead of saying, it was easy, you could say, it was a piece of cake. Instead of saying, stop wasting time, you could say, stop beating around the bush. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. I have butterflies in my stomach. It was a piece of cake. Stop beating around the bush. Excellent. These are expressions you can bring into your daily conversations right away. Imagine telling a friend before an exam, I have butterflies in my stomach. That immediately makes your English feel more advanced and natural. Now, let's turn to advanced ways of agreeing and disagreeing. At lower levels, students often say, I agree, or I don't agree. But at C1, you can expand this range. For example, instead of I agree, try I couldn't agree more. That's absolutely true. Or I see your point and I share the same opinion. Instead of I don't agree, you can say I'm afraid I can't share that view. That's not quite how I see it. Or I beg to differ. Let's try some of these together. Repeat after me. I couldn't agree more. That's absolutely true. I beg to differ. That's not quite how I see it. Great. Now imagine you are in a classroom discussion or at work, and you need to respond politely but firmly. These phrases give you the confidence to express yourself clearly without sounding too direct or too simple. Fluency also depends on how you tell stories. At the advanced level, learners are expected to add detail, use descriptive language, and create interest when they explain events. Let's take a simple sentence. I went to the park yesterday. At C1, you might say, yesterday I spent a quiet afternoon at the park, soaking in the fresh air, and observing families enjoying the sunshine. Do you notice the difference? The second sentence paints a picture. It gives the listener something to imagine. Let's practice together. Repeat after me slowly. Yesterday, I spent a quiet afternoon at the park, soaking in the fresh air and observing families enjoying the sunshine. Excellent. Now think of a simple daily activity, like cooking dinner or going shopping. Try to expand your sentence with extra details, descriptive words, or even emotions. That's how you grow from B2 to C1, by making your language more vivid and expressive. We should also work on transitions, because advanced speakers use them constantly to guide the listener. For example, to begin with, in addition, as a result, in contrast, on the whole. These small phrases help your speech sound structured and smooth. Let's repeat some of them together. To begin with, in addition, as a result, on the whole, very good. Next time you speak about your day or give your opinion, try to include one or two transitions to connect your ideas more naturally. Here's a short practice exercise. Imagine you are describing your morning routine. A basic version might be, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went to work. But an advanced version could be, to begin with, I woke up early to prepare for the day. In addition, I had a healthy breakfast which gave me energy. As a result, I felt productive and ready to face the tasks at work. Repeat this after me slowly, and notice how the transitions guide the story smoothly. At C1, your vocabulary should also help you express emotions and opinions with subtlety. Instead of just saying, I like it, you might say, I find it fascinating, I really appreciate it, or I'm genuinely impressed. Instead of I don't like it, you could say, it doesn't really appeal to me. Or I'm not particularly fond of it. These softer, more nuanced expressions are a mark of advanced communication. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I find it fascinating. I really appreciate it. It doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not particularly fond of it. Excellent. These phrases will help you sound more natural, more polite, and more advanced in your daily conversations. Remember, practice is everything. To really internalize this vocabulary, you need to use it. So here's a challenge for you. Today, when you talk to someone, try replacing one simple word or phrase with a more advanced alternative from this lesson. Maybe instead of saying very good, you say outstanding. Instead of saying I don't know, you say I can't say with certainty. Each time you do this, you're building your C1 English, brick by brick. Another important aspect of advanced English is how you manage emphasis. At the C1 level, you don't always need to rely on very or really to strengthen your ideas. Instead, you can use more precise and powerful words. For example, instead of saying very hungry, you could say starving. Instead of really cold, you might say freezing. Instead of very big, you could say enormous or gigantic. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm starving. It's freezing outside. The house was enormous. Perfect. Now, think of one simple sentence you often use, like, I'm very happy. At a C1 level, you could say, I'm delighted. I'm overjoyed. Or, I'm thrilled. These alternatives not only sound more natural, but also express different shades of feeling. Here's a small exercise for you. Imagine you're describing your weekend to a friend. Instead of saying, the concert was very good, try, the concert was phenomenal. Instead of saying, the restaurant was very bad, try, the restaurant was dreadful. By practicing like this, you'll train your brain to automatically reach for stronger vocabulary instead of simple words. Another step toward advanced fluency is mastering collocations, words that naturally go together. For example, we say make a decision, not do a decision. We say strong coffee, not powerful coffee. And we say heavy rain, not big rain. These word partnerships are what make your English sound natural and fluent. Let's practice some collocations together. Repeat after me. Make progress. Catch a bus. Break the news. Keep a promise. Pay attention. Run a business. Excellent. Notice how natural they feel? At C1 level, learning collocations is often more important than memorizing individual words, because collocations show you how vocabulary actually works in daily speech. Let's build a quick practice story using collocations. Listen and then repeat after me slowly. Yesterday, I made a decision to run a small business online. In the morning, I caught a bus into town to buy supplies. On the way, my friend called me to break the news that she was moving abroad. I promised to keep in touch, and I paid attention to her every word. By the end of the day, I felt that I had made real progress. Excellent. That's a natural story filled with collocations you can use in your own conversations. At the C1 level, you also need to master hedging language. This means softening your statements to sound more polite, professional, or cautious. Instead of saying, this is wrong, you might say, I'm not sure that's entirely correct. Instead of, you are late, you could say, it seems you've arrived a bit later than expected. This type of language is very common in academic, business, and even friendly discussions because it sounds respectful and balanced. Let's practice some hedging phrases together. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely sure. It seems that it appears to be, from my perspective, as far as I can tell. These phrases will help you express opinions without sounding too direct or too blunt. This is especially highly useful in professional or international settings where politeness can make a huge difference. Another tool for advanced speakers is mastering modal verbs for speculation and deduction. For example, he must be tired means you are sure. He might be tired means it's possible. He can't be tired means you think it's impossible. These little changes make your English far more flexible and nuanced. Let's practice this in daily life contexts. Repeat after me. She must be at work. The lights are on. He might be busy. He hasn't answered his phone. That can't be true. I saw it with my own eyes. Perfect. By practicing modals this way, you train yourself to express levels of certainty, possibility, and impossibility. A key skill for C1 English. Now let's expand into discourse markers. These are phrases we use to organize our ideas and sound natural in conversation. For example, frankly speaking, between you and me, if I'm honest, to be fair, in my opinion. These phrases make your English sound smooth and connected, just like native-level conversation. Let's try some together. Repeat after me. Frankly speaking, I don't think that's the best idea. Between you and me, I was a little nervous before the meeting. To be fair, the movie wasn't as bad as people said. Excellent. These little touches add personality and flow to your speech, and they are a strong signal of advanced fluency. Finally, in this section, let's bring everything together with a longer practice exercise. Imagine you're talking about a challenge you faced recently, and you want to sound advanced and confident. Repeat after me slowly. Frankly speaking, last week was exhausting. I was absolutely overwhelmed with work. Nevertheless, I managed to make progress and complete my tasks on time. It seems that my colleagues appreciated my efforts. And I couldn't agree more that teamwork made the difference. On the whole, it was a challenging week, but I feel delighted with what we achieved. Wonderful. Notice how this short story combined strong vocabulary, connectors, collocations, and hedgy, Nung language. That's exactly how you reach C1 fluency. At the C1 level, one of the most valuable skills you can develop is the ability to rephrase. Rephrasing means saying the same idea in different ways depending on context. This is powerful because it shows flexibility in communication. For example, if someone asks you, "Do you understand?" at a basic level, you might simply say, "Yes, I understand." But at C1, you could say, "Yes, I follow your point," or "Yes, I get what you mean," or "Yes, that makes sense to me." Each option expresses agreement, but each has a slightly different tone, formal, casual, or neutral. This skill makes your English sound alive and adaptable. Let's practice together. Repeat after me slowly. I follow your point. I get what you mean. That makes sense to me. Good. Now, imagine a friend is explaining a new app to you. Instead of just saying, "I understand," try one of these alternatives. This flexibility is what makes you sound like an advanced speaker. Another dimension of C1 fluency is sophistication in expressing opinions. At lower levels, learners often say, "I think," again and again. But at C1, you can expand this with phrases such as, "In my view," "From my perspective," "As far as I'm concerned," "If you ask me," and "The way I see it." These alternatives not only make your English richer, they also help you avoid repetition, which is a mark of advanced communication. Let's do this together. Repeat after me. In my view, this approach is more effective. From my perspective, we should try something different. As far as I'm concerned, learning English daily is the best strategy. If you ask me, the book was better than the movie. The way I see it, practice leads to progress. Excellent. You now have 5 new ways to express your opinion without always falling back on, I think. We also need to focus on advanced time expressions because these often challenge learners. Instead of only saying yesterday or last week, you can use phrases such as the other day, in the meantime, at the end of the day, or in the long run. These expressions are extremely common among native speakers and give your speech a more authentic rhythm. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I met her the other day. In the meantime, I'll keep working on this project. At the end of the day, we all want to be happy. In the long run, practice always pays off. Perfect. Try to use one of these expressions the next time you tell a story about your daily life. At the C1 level, your fluency also depends on mastering the subtle difference between formal and informal registers. In casual conversation, you might say, "Can you help me out?" In a professional meeting, you might instead say, "Would you be able to assist me with this?" Both mean the same, but the second is more formal and polite. Being able to shift between these registers shows advanced control of English. Let's practice this skill together. Repeat after me. Can you help me out? Now, repeat. Would you be able to assist me with this? Great. Now imagine 2 scenarios, one with a close friend and one with your boss. Which phrase would you use in each case? This awareness of context is what makes your English sound sophisticated and appropriate. Another crucial area at C1 is building range with phrasal verbs and their formal equivalents. For example, instead of put off, you might use postpone. Instead of come up with, you might use devise. Instead of give up, you could use surrender. Instead of find out, you might say discover. Phrasal verbs are common in spoken English, while their single-word equivalents are often used in academic or professional settings. A C1 learner can move comfortably between both. Let's try it now. Repeat after me. We had to put off the meeting. We had to postpone the meeting. She came up with a new idea. She devised a new idea. He gave up the fight. He surrendered the fight. Did you find out the answer? Did you discover the answer? Wonderful. Notice how each version feels slightly different depending on context, but both are correct. That's the flexibility you want. At this stage, it's also important to practice storytelling with advanced connectors. Imagine you're describing a trip. At a basic level, you might say, I went to Paris, I saw the Eiffel Tower, I took photos, I ate food. At C1, you would say, last summer I had the opportunity to visit Paris, and needless to say, it was unforgettable. Not only did I see the Eiffel Tower, but I also explored hidden streets and charming cafes. Moreover, I captured dozens of photographs to keep as memories. And to top it all off, the food was absolutely exquisite. Do you hear the difference? The second version flows, engages, and paints a picture. Let's practice together slowly. Repeat after me. Last summer, I had the opportunity to visit Paris, and needless to say, it was unforgettable. Not only did I see the Eiffel Tower, but I also explored hidden streets and charming cafes. Moreover, I captured dozens of photographs to keep as memories. And to top it all off, the food was absolutely exquisite. Excellent. That's storytelling at an advanced level. Now, let's shift to another key element of C1, expressing cause and effect. Instead of always using because, you can use due to, owing to, as a result of, or thanks to. Instead of only saying so, you can say therefore, thus, consequently, or hence. These connectors not only enrich your vocabulary, they also make your sentences sound academic, professional, and polished. Practice with me. Repeat after me. Due to the heavy rain, the match was canceled. Owing to his dedication, he succeeded in his exams. As a result of the delay, the meeting was postponed. Thanks to her support, I felt more confident. Now with so alternatives, the team worked hard, therefore, they achieved success. The evidence was clear, thus, the case was closed. She didn't study, consequently, she failed. He was the eldest, hence, he took responsibility. Very good. These connectors will be especially useful in academic essays, debates, and formal writing. Finally, let's put everything we've practiced into a longer advanced practice paragraph you can shadow. Repeat after me slowly. In the long run, learning English every day will bring you closer to fluency. Owing to consistent practice, your confidence will steadily grow. Moreover, as a result of applying advanced vocabulary, you will begin to sound more natural and precise. At the end of the day, language is about connection, and needless to say, the more variety you have, the more deeply you can connect with people. Therefore, never stop challenging yourself, because every word you learn builds another step toward mastery. Excellent. That's advanced fluency in action. At the advanced level, you also need to practice how to emphasize contrast in your speech. Native speakers do this naturally, and it makes conversations sound dynamic and engaging. Instead of simply saying, but, you can use however, nevertheless, nonetheless, even so, or having said that. Each of these gives your English more depth and sophistication. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I was tired. However, I kept working until midnight. It was raining. Nevertheless, we went for a walk. She was nervous. Nonetheless, she delivered a great presentation. The plan was risky. Even so, they decided to try it. I usually prefer tea. Ha! Ving said that I don't mind a cup of coffee sometimes. Excellent. These words are not only for writing, but also for speaking, and using them shows that you can handle subtlety in communication. Another area where C1 learners stand out is in expressing probability and possibility with nuance. Instead of always saying maybe, you could say it's likely, it's probable, there's a good chance, it's doubtful, or it's highly unlikely. These expressions let you show degrees of certainty, which is important for academic, professional, and everyday conversation. Practice with me. Repeat after me. It's likely that he'll arrive late. There's a good chance she'll win the competition. It's doubtful that they'll finish on time. It's highly unlikely that the store will be open now. Very good. Now imagine you're predicting tomorrow's weather. Instead of saying, maybe it will rain, you could say, it's likely to rain tomorrow. This change immediately makes your English sound more advanced. Now let's explore advanced ways of showing cause and purpose. Instead of always using so that, try in order to, with the aim of, for the purpose of, or so as to. These structures will make your sentences longer, richer, and more natural at C1. Repeat after me slowly. I studied hard in order to pass the exam. She joined the club with the aim of meeting new people. They organized the event for the purpose of raising funds. He spoke slowly so as to be understood clearly. Excellent. These alternatives give you more options to express intention or reason in your daily speech and writing. Another powerful step toward advanced fluency is mastering synonyms with slight differences in tone. Take the word important. Instead of always saying important, you can say crucial, essential, vital, significant, or fundamental. Each of these adds precision to your speech. For example, plea, it is crucial to arrive on time. Exercise is essential for good health. Water is vital for survival. Education plays a significant role in society. Honesty is a fundamental value. Let's practice them together. Repeat after me. It is crucial to arrive on time. Exercise is essential for good health. Water is vital for survival. Education plays a significant role in society. Honesty is a fundamental value. Excellent. With these synonyms, you now have 5 new ways to avoid repetition and sound advanced. At C1, your ability to describe subtle feelings and emotions also becomes important. Instead of saying, I'm happy, you can say, I'm content, I'm pleased, I'm cheerful, I'm delighted, or I'm thrilled. Instead of I'm sad, you might say, I'm upset, I'm downhearted, I'm sorrowful, or I'm devastated. These words give your speech emotional color, which is exactly what advanced English requires. Let's shadow these together. Repeat after me. I'm content with my progress. I'm cheerful today. I'm delighted to see you again. I'm thrilled about the news. I'm upset about the result. I'm devastated after hearing what happened. Great. Now think about your own life and choose one advanced emotional word to describe how you feel today. This kind of personalization helps vocabulary stay in your memory. Let's also spend time on advanced storytelling with comparisons and contrasts. At a basic level, you might say, my town is big. At C1, you could say, compared to nearby towns, my city is significantly larger and more vibrant, although it can sometimes feel overcrowded. Notice how the second sentence not only describes, but also compares, contrasts, and adds detail. Repeat this after me slowly. Compared to nearby towns, my city is significantly larger and more vibrant, although it can sometimes feel overcrowded. Excellent. Now take a simple sentence from your own life and expand it with a comparison or contrast. That's how you build advanced fluency. Step by step. Another area to develop is your ability to express degrees of opinion at a basic level. Learners often say, I agree or I don't agree. At C1, you can say, I agree to a certain extent. I agree up to a point. I generally agree. I strongly disagree. Or I absolutely support that idea. These small changes show that you can handle complexity in discussions, rather than just giving yes or no answers. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I agree to a certain extent. I generally agree. I strongly disagree. I absolutely support that idea. Excellent. Imagine you are in a classroom or a meeting. Using these expressions will make your English sound more advanced and more confident. Finally, let's finish this section with a longer practice paragraph you can shadow. Repeat after me slowly. In my view, Developing advanced vocabulary is crucial for reaching C1 fluency. Compared to beginners, advanced learners are able to express subtle emotions, complex opinions, and detailed stories. Nevertheless, this doesn't happen overnight. It requires constant practice and repetition. As far as I'm concerned, the best way to achieve this level is by using new words daily in order to make them part of your natural speech. At the end of the day, fluency is not just about accuracy, but about flexibility and confidence. Wonderful. This is exactly how your English will grow stronger. Day by day, at the C1 level, one of the biggest differences you'll notice is the ability to sound persuasive. Persuasive language is not only useful for debates or arguments, but also in daily life when you want to convince someone, make a suggestion, or share your point of view. Instead of just saying, "I think this is good," you could say, "There are several reasons why this approach is effective," or, "The evidence strongly suggests that this method works better." These expressions show confidence, structure, and logical thinking. Let's practice some persuasive phrases together. Repeat after me. There are several reasons why this approach is effective. The evidence strongly suggests that this method works better. It's clear that the benefits outweigh the disadvantages. I firmly believe that consistent practice leads to fluency. Great. Imagine yourself in a meeting, or even a casual discussion with friends. These expressions give strength to your ideas without sounding too forceful. Another area that shows advanced fluency is the ability to speculate about the past, present, or future. Instead of giving only direct statements, you can use advanced modal verbs like might have, could have, should have, or would have. For example, he might have forgotten to call. They could have arrived earlier. I should have prepared better. She would have helped if she had known. These forms allow you to express possibilities, regrets, and imagined scenarios, a hallmark of advanced communication. Let's practice this carefully. Repeat after me. He might have forgotten to call. They could have arrived earlier. I should have prepared better. She would have helped if she had known. Excellent. Now, think of one situation from your past and try describing it with one of these advanced modal forms. This kind of reflection strengthens your ability to use grammar naturally at the C1 level. Another skill that sets advanced learners apart is paraphrasing. Imagine you're in an exam or conversation, and you need to explain the same idea in a different way. At C1, you can do this smoothly, without repeating yourself. For example, instead of saying, "It's very important to practice," you could say, "Practice plays a vital role," or "Regular practice is essential," or "Consistent practice is the key to progress." Each sentence communicates the same idea, but with different structures and vocabulary. Let's shadow these together. Repeat after me slowly. Practice plays a vital role. Regular practice is essential. Consistent practice is the key to progress. Excellent. This flexibility is one of the strongest signs that you are approaching C1 fluency. Now, let's move to the art of using emphasis through inversion. Inversion is when you change the normal word order for emphasis, which is very common in advanced English. For example, "Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset." Rarely do we get the chance to experience something like that. Only after studying every day did I feel more confident. These structures sound natural at higher levels and make your speech much more powerful. Let's try it together. Repeat after me. Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Rarely do we get the chance to experience something like that. Only after studying every day did I feel more confident. Excellent. These advanced structures not only make your English sound more dramatic, they also give you a style that feels polished and native-like. At the C1 level, your ability to use conditionals with nuance also becomes very important. Instead of only using simple conditionals like, if it rains, I'll stay home, you'll also want to practice mixed and advanced conditionals. For example, if I had studied harder, I would be more confident now. Or, if she had left earlier, she might have caught the train. These sentences combine the past with the present or future to describe imagined outcomes. Let's practice slowly. Repeat after me. If I had studied harder, I would be more confident now. If she had left earlier, she might have caught the train. Great. Now create your own example in your mind, maybe about missing an opportunity or preparing for something differently, and say it out loud. The more you practice, the more natural these advanced conditionals will become. Another advanced tool is mastering emphasis through cleft sentences. Instead of saying, I liked the movie, you could say, what I really liked was the movie. Instead of, she helped me the most, you could say, it was she who helped me the most. These structures add focus and make your statements stronger and more dramatic. Let's shadow them together. Repeat after me. What I really liked was the movie. It was she who helped me the most. What I need right now is a break. It was the teacher who encouraged me to continue. Excellent. Notice how these sentences highlight specific parts of the message. That's the kind of flexibility advanced learners need. Finally, let's bring this section to a close with a full practice story, combining persuasion, speculation, inversion, and emphasis. Repeat after me slowly. Never have I felt such excitement as when I finally reached my English goals. What I realized was that consistent practice every day truly makes a difference. If I had given up earlier, I would not be speaking fluently now. There are several reasons why practice works so well. It builds confidence, it improves accuracy, and it creates habits. Only after months of daily training did I understand how powerful these small steps were. At the end of the day, fluency is not about talent. It's about persistence. Excellent. This is the kind of storytelling that clearly shows C1 level mastery. At C1 level, one of the strongest features of your English is your ability to add nuance when you agree or disagree with someone. Instead of always saying, I agree or I disagree, you can show levels of agreement. For example, I agree with you to a large extent. I agree with you in principle, but, or, I can see where you're coming from, however I see it differently. These phrases allow you to participate in discussions with more depth and flexibility, especially in academic or professional settings. Let's practice together. Repeat after me slowly. I agree with you to a large extent. I agree with you in principle, but, I can see where you're coming from, however I see it differently. Very good. Notice how these phrases make you sound thoughtful and respectful rather than simply giving a yes or no answer. Another area where C1 learners shine is in handling abstract topics. You don't only talk about what you did yesterday, you can also discuss ideas like success, happiness, freedom, technology, or education in complex ways. For example, instead of saying success is important, you could say success is often measured in terms of money and status. But in my opinion, true success lies in personal growth and happiness. That longer version shows your ability to explain, expand, and support your ideas with detail, exactly what advanced communication requires. Let's shadow this together. Repeat after me. Success is often measured in terms of money and status, but in my opinion, true success lies in personal growth and happiness. Excellent. Now, think about a big topic like education or technology and try to expand your ideas with 2 or 3 sentences instead of one. This practice is what takes your English from B2 to C1. Another feature of advanced English is your ability to describe situations with precision using adverbs and adjectives that carry subtle meaning. For example, instead of saying, "He spoke loudly," you could say, "He spoke assertively." Instead of, "She answered quickly," you could say, "She answered promptly." Instead of, "They worked hard," you could say, "They worked diligently." Each of these words adds character and paints a clearer picture. Practice with me. Repeat after me. He spoke assertively. She answered promptly. They worked diligently. Very good. Notice how these words feel more exact than their simple D. Alternatives. When you master these kinds of vocabulary choices, you start to sound like someone who has true command of the language. At the C1 level, you also want to master subtle expressions of contrast and balance. For instance, you could say, "On the one hand, learning vocabulary is time-consuming. On the other hand, it's essential for fluency." Or, "While technology connects us, it can also isolate us." These balanced structures are useful when you want to show more than one side of an issue, which is an advanced communication skill. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. On the one hand, learning vocabulary is time-consuming. On the other hand, it's essential for fluency. While technology connects us, it can also isolate us. Excellent. Next time you talk about a topic, try to include both sides in your response. It will immediately make you sound more advanced and reflective. Another key skill is your ability to use softening language politely. Instead of saying, "You are wrong," you might say, "I'm not entirely convinced by that argument." Instead of, "You need to do this," you could say, "You might want to consider doing this." These small adjustments make your communication smoother and more respectful, which is an important sign of advanced fluency. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely convinced by that argument. You might want to consider doing this. It seems to me that there could be another way. Perfect. Try using one of these phrases the next time you give advice or respond to someone you disagree with. Now let's practice more advanced storytelling. Imagine you're telling a story about a challenge you faced. At a basic level, you might say, "I had a problem at work. I solved it." At C1, you could expand it. "Not long ago, I faced a significant challenge at work when our project was delayed. At first, I was frustrated. However, I reminded myself that setbacks are part of the learning process. Consequently, I reorganized my schedule, delegated tasks more effectively, and in the end, he project was completed successfully. The experience taught me resilience and time management, skills I now value greatly. Let's shadow this story slowly. Repeat after me. Not long ago, I faced a significant challenge at work when our project was delayed. At first, I was frustrated. However, I reminded myself that setbacks are part of the learning process. Consequently, I reorganized my schedule, delegated tasks more effectively, and in the end, the project was completed successfully. The experience taught me resilience and time management, skills I now value greatly. Excellent. This kind of story is what you need to practice regularly to speak like a C1 level learner. Finally, let's end this section with a powerful practice paragraph that includes advanced connectors, emotions, and nuanced opinions. Repeat after me slowly. In today's world, it is undeniable that learning English is a crucial skill. While it can sometimes feel overwhelming, the long-term benefits are enormous. On the one hand, it requires daily effort. On the other hand, it opens doors to education, career, and international friendships. From my perspective, it's not only about vocabulary or grammar, but about the confidence to express who you truly are. At the end of the day, fluency is not about perfection. It's about communication, connection, and growth. Excellent. That's exactly how advanced fluency feels: rich, expressive, and human. At the C1 level, one of the most noticeable skills is the ability to explain cause and effect with subtlety. Instead of always using because, you can stretch your language and say, given that, owing to the fact that, in light of, or considering that. For example, the meeting was canceled because of the weather could become, the meeting was canceled owing to the fact that the storm made travel impossible, or, in light of the new regulations, he company had to change its strategy. These phrases make your speech longer, more complex, and more professional. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. The meeting was canceled owing to the fact that the storm made travel impossible. In light of the new regulations, the company had to change its strategy. Considering that she was ill, it was understandable that she stayed home. Excellent. Using these kinds of structures will give you the flexibility to write essays, participate in debates, and speak confidently in formal conversations. Another skill at C1 is using emphasis to highlight contrast with advanced structures. Instead of saying it's important, you can use phrases like, what is essential is, the key point is, or the most striking thing is. These cleft-style sentences draw the listener's attention to exactly what matters. Repeat after me. What is essential is that we practice every day. The key point is that fluency takes time. The most striking thing is how quickly your English improves when you practice consistently. Perfect. Notice how these structures give weight to your ideas and make you sound more persuasive and thoughtful. We should also focus on advanced linking phrases that create logical flow. Instead of only using and or but, you can use in addition to that, what's more, on top of that, over and above that, and furthermore. Imagine telling someone about your trip. A simple version would be, I went to Rome, I saw the Colosseum, I ate pizza. At C1 you could say, I went to Rome, and in addition to that, I had the chance to see the Colosseum, which was breathtaking. What's more, The pizza I ate there was some of the best I've ever tasted. Practice with me. Repeat after me slowly. In addition to that, I had the chance to see the Colosseum. What's more, the pizza I ate there was some of the best I've ever tasted. Furthermore, I met new friends who made the trip unforgettable. Excellent. Do you hear how these transitions make our story flow more naturally? Another hallmark of advanced fluency is being able to make concessions in your speech. Concessions mean admitting one side of an argument while still holding your main position. Instead of just saying, "I disagree," you might say, "While I see your point, I still believe that," or, "Although that's true to some extent, I would argue that." These phrases make you sound diplomatic, respectful, and confident. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. While I see your point, I still believe that practice is essential. Although that's true to some extent, I would argue that vocabulary must also be a priority. Great. These are the types of sentences that will impress in exams, discussions, and professional contexts. At this level, descriptive precision is also important. Let's work with advanced adjectives for describing people. Instead of just saying, "He's nice," you could say, "He's considerate," "He's compassionate," "He's approachable," or "He's charismatic." Instead of "she's smart," you could say, "She's insightful," "She's innovative," or "She's perceptive." These words not only expand your vocabulary, but also give you tools to describe personalities with more detail and accuracy. Repeat after me. He's considerate. He's compassionate. She's perceptive. She's innovative. Very good. Now think of a friend or a teacher in your life and try to describe them with one advanced adjective instead of a simple one. This personalization helps words stay in your memory much longer. Let's also work with advanced adverbs because they often bring sentences to life. Instead of saying, "She answered quickly," you might say, "She answered promptly." Instead of, "He worked hard," you could say, "He worked tirelessly." Instead of, "They reacted slowly," you might say, "They reacted reluctantly." These adverbs show not just the action, but the man, near an emotion behind the action, which is the detail that C1 level English thrives on. Practice with me. Repeat after me. She answered promptly. He worked tirelessly. They reacted reluctantly. Excellent. Adding adverbs like these will make your speech vivid and powerful. Now, let's combine everything into a longer storytelling practice passage. Repeat after me slowly. Although I was reluctant to join the meeting at first, I eventually agreed, considering that my team needed my support. What was essential was not just my presence, but my active contribution. In light of the tight deadlines, we worked tirelessly to complete the project on time. Furthermore, each team member showed remarkable dedication. On top of that, our manager was considerate and gave us encouragement throughout. At the end of the day, although the task was exhausting, the results were truly rewarding. Excellent. This is how your storytelling skills become richer and more advanced with every practice. At the C1 level, one of the most powerful tools you can use is precision in describing attitudes and opinions. Instead of always saying, "I like it," you could say, "I genuinely admire it," "I deeply appreciate it," or "I'm particularly fond of it." Instead of, "I don't like it," you might say, "I find it unappealing," "It doesn't resonate with me," or "I'm not especially enthusiastic about it." These phrases add subtlety and prevent your speech from sounding repetitive or too simple. Let's practice together. Repeat after me slowly. I genuinely admire it. I deeply appreciate it. I'm particularly fond of it. I find it unappealing. It doesn't resonate with me. I'm not especially enthusiastic about it. Excellent. Now think of a movie, a song, or a book you've experienced recently. Try to describe your feelings about it using one of these advanced expressions instead of the basic "I liked it" or "I didn't like it." Another mark of C1 fluency is the ability to describe uncertainty with nuance. Instead of just saying, "I don't know," you can say, "I'm not entirely certain. It remains unclear. The answer escapes me for now." Or, "I can't say with confidence." These alternatives help you sound polite and professional while showing that you can handle complexity in communication. Practice with me. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely certain. It remains unclear. The answer escapes me for now. I can't say with confidence. Perfect. Imagine being in a classroom or a meeting. These phrases let you participate in the conversation without sounding abrupt or limited. At this level, you also want to master advanced cause and effect vocabulary. Instead of only using "so," you can use "as a consequence," "as a result," "thereby," or "accordingly." For example, she studied hard, thereby improving her chances of success. Or, the company invested in training and accordingly, employee performance increased. These are common in academic writing, but also very natural in professional discussions. Repeat after me. She studied hard, thereby improving her chances of success. The company invested in training, and accordingly, employee performance increased. As a result of the changes, customers felt more satisfied. Excellent. These expressions will add sophistication to your English immediately. Another skill you need is the ability to evaluate ideas with balanced language. Instead of saying, "That's good," you could say, "That's a valid point," "That's a reasonable observation," or "That's a well-founded argument." Instead of saying, "That's bad," you might say, "That's questionable," "That's debatable," or "That's not entirely convincing." These expressions show critical thinking, which is essential for C1 conversations. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. That's a valid point. That's a reasonable observation. That's a well-founded argument. That's questionable. That's debatable. That's not entirely convincing. Great. Imagine a debate or a classroom discussion. These sentences allow you to respond politely while also expressing your perspective clearly. Now let's explore advanced narrative techniques for storytelling. Instead of always starting with "then" or "after that," try "subsequently," "eventually," "in the aftermath," or "ultimately." For example, the team worked day and night. Subsequently, they completed the project ahead of schedule. Or, he faced many obstacles, but ultimately, he achieved his goal. These words help you tell stories with structure and variety. A key skill for advanced fluency. Practice with me. Repeat after me. Subsequently, they completed the project ahead of schedule. In the aftermath of the crisis, people came together to support each other. Eventually, everything worked out. Ultimately, he achieved his goal. Excellent. Using these in your daily storytelling will immediately make you sound more advanced. At C1, you also need to master expressions of contrast using concession clauses. For example, although it was difficult, we managed to succeed. Even though I was tired, I kept going. Despite the challenges, we completed the work. And, in spite of his lack of experience, he performed well. These structures show that you can balance two opposing ideas smoothly. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Although it was difficult, we managed to succeed. Even though I was tired, I kept going. Despite the challenges, we completed the work. In spite of his lack of experience, he performed well. Wonderful. These structures are common in academic essays, professional discussions, and advanced everyday speech. Finally, let's combine everything into a long practice story. Repeat after me slowly. Although the situation was uncertain, the team worked diligently to find solutions. In the aftermath of the first setback, they reorganized their approach. Subsequently, new strategies were applied, and as a result, performance improved significantly. While it remained unclear at first whether the project would succeed, it ultimately exceeded expectations. What impressed me most was not just the outcome, but the resilience everyone showed throughout. At the end of the day, it was a valid reminder that persistence, even in the face of challenges, leads to meaningful progress. Excellent. This is how you bring advanced connectors, vocabulary, and nuance together in one fluent passage. At the C1 level, fluency is also about how naturally you handle speculation about the future. Instead of just saying, maybe it will happen, you could say, it's quite possible that it will happen. There's every likelihood that it will take place. Or, it seems probable that it will occur. These structures are common in news reports, professional discussions, and academic writing. Practice with me. Repeat after me slowly. It's quite possible that it will happen. There's every likelihood that it will take place. It seems probable that it will occur. Excellent. Notice how these expressions sound polished and confident. Exactly what you need at the advanced level. Another skill that makes you stand out is the ability to describe trends and changes. Instead of always saying, it is getting better or it is getting worse, you can say, it is on the rise, it is in decline, it has been steadily improving, or it has been gradually deteriorating. These expressions allow you to discuss social issues, technology, health, or any other broad topic at an advanced level. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. The use of renewable energy is on the rise. Traditional bookstores are in decline. My English has been steadily improving since I started daily practice. The situation has been gradually deteriorating over the past few months. Excellent. These are the kinds of phrases that bring depth to your discussions and essays. Now let's strengthen your ability to express conditions and results in more sophisticated ways. Instead of always using if, you can use provided that, as long as, on condition that, or supposing that. For example, you can succeed provided that you work consistently. I'll join you on condition that we finish early. These structures show flexibility and variety in your grammar, which is a clear sign of C1 fluency. Practice with me. Repeat after me. You can succeed provided that you work consistently. I'll join you on condition that we finish early. Supposing that it rains tomorrow, what will we do? Very good. These small shifts elevate your English from simple to advanced. Finally, let's practice a full storytelling passage that brings together advanced connectors, conditionals, and subtle expressions. Repeat after me slowly. Supposing that we never practiced daily, our progress would be slow and frustrating. On the other hand, provided that we commit to even a small amount of English every day, the results can be astonishing. My own experience has shown that vocabulary builds steadily, and grammar becomes clearer with constant use. In light of this, I firmly believe that fluency is within everyone's reach, as long as persistence becomes a habit. Excellent. That's advanced fluency in action. Now, before we finish, let me remind you of something important. Fluency at C1 is not built in a day. It is built step by step, word by word, and sentence by sentence. Every time you practice, every time you repeat, every time you challenge yourself to replace a simple phrase with a more advanced one, you move closer to your goal. You already have the ability. What you need now is consistency and confidence. Thank you so much for staying with me through this masterclass. I hope you practiced along, repeated the examples, and felt your English stretch into new areas of fluency. If you enjoyed this lesson and want more, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon so you never miss new videos that will help you grow your English step by step. Your support means a lot, and together we'll keep building your confidence until advanced English feels natural to you. So, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember, every single word you learn brings you one step closer to mastery. Take care, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next lesson.